hello, happy Friday. This is a really special Let's Put the Happy Back in hour because we have kind of local celebrity here. And I'm Crystal Kane. I'm a real estate broker for Happy Valley Realty Group. And I don't know if you're one of probably millions of people who have seen the recent documentary Stands, which is on Paramount Plus and is fabulous. I actually watched it 2 times. I know Kathy's watched it 2 times. And while I was experiencing it, as most Eminem fans would, gravitate to anything Eminem, I saw that Meagan here was a huge part of the production of that, and interviewed extensively and talked about kind of what the definition of stands means. And then Kathy is from Detroit, but you know the Mile, and you grew up kind of during that time.
Yes.
Yes. And why you just rolled like?
Well, I did, yeah.
Yeah. So you can be like, yeah, did it. I was in Detroit. So I think it's like super exciting. So basically, I would love to hear. I mean, one, we'll start off, I guess, with, you know, the definition of, now we all kind of know what a stan is, which I think was really an interesting, one little nugget out of Eminem's huge portfolio that really he grabbed, and I think it makes so much sense because he's super relatable in a very peculiar way. He just pulls you in like that.
Absolutely.
So I would love to hear kind of, like, how did you, I understand that, like, it said you've been a stan since 2000, so 25 years.
Yep, 25 years.
A dedicated fan, which is kind of huge. And I think, like, you know, whether people talk about it or not, I think everybody is, because he's just,
yeah.
I think
he was pretty,
so too.
Yeah, he was pretty magical. And it still is. And the more I learned about him on the documentary, the more engulfed I was, like, back in, because of how he's transformed and things. But anyways, I want to know about how you were approached, or you approached, or how that came to be.
Absolutely.
And then we'll dive into some more things, whatever you guys want to do, we'll
Sounds
talk about.
good.
Okay.
They did not reach out to me. They actually, a few of the stans that were in the film that I've spoken to said that they actually had them reach out to them, and one of them being Nikki, the one with all the tattoos, because of their Guinness Book World of Records. But how I came about it was just being on Facebook one day, and there was this ad that said, we're looking for stans. It was a stan calling card, and they wanted a short video of your favorite song and the reason why you've been a stan and how long you've been a stan for. So I made a small video explaining how Marshall Mathers' music got me through every single battle in my life. When it came to bullying in high school, to later on in life with addiction, to losing my parents, he's been beside me for 25 years. Okay. And so I sent that in, and they got back to me. And I didn't believe it, actually. I really didn't believe it at first, because I was just like, that's not what?
Yeah, so it doesn't happen.
No. So when they reached out to me, I went to my husband, and I was just like, is this real? And he's like, yeah, Meagan, this is real. Yeah. So I contacted them back. We did a Zoom interview online, and they asked me more questions. They actually wanted to incorporate some of my poetry, because he inspired me to write. I've been journaling since I was 11, and I had so many books that I had brought with them and showed them my writing, and they were like, that's great. It's just like Marshall. I literally write just like him. So from that to my story, they chose me.
Okay, so 2 questions. One is, you immediately saw the word stan and knew that it was a casting call.
Yep.
Maybe Kathy and I would not have recognized. You would have known that. Okay.
Yeah, especially in that font.
Thank you. Okay, that I recognize, but, and then when you put so do you want to define the word stan?
Yeah.
Or stans, excuse me.
Stans? Well, in the dictionary, it describes as an overzealous, obsessive fan.
But I don't call you that.
No. But there's different degrees of stans, and I feel like at first stans were viewed as something negative.
Like a negative connotation, like stans, you think obsessive, and
absolutely.
You assume,
They were really connected to like mental illness and people who are unregulated. People thought that listening to Marshall Mathers music was actually causing people to be a bad person be a certain way, and that wasn't the case. For some people, maybe, but for the majority, no. And so the majority of the population that took in Marshall Mathers' music, despite all of it, despite the sexism, despite the misogynistic lyrics, despite all of it, he connected with people. And he connected with people in actually a positive way. And people resonated with that. And Stan went from being this obsessive, overzealous fan to an entirely different definition. And we coined the term Stanmily.
You're a Stanmily. I love it. Oh my gosh, you're part of the Stan. I feel like I'm part of the Stanmily.
Yep.
I think we all like have a little bit of like that in us.
Yes. Yep.
So, quick question. While you were talking, I was thinking of that. Do you feel that, there's so many components, we could go on for hours about this because it's really fascinating stuff, is why people resonated with him, because these aren't necessarily lyrics that we would be attracted to, right? Like, and I even wrote down somewhere in the notes, like, what is it and why were they so hard on him? And the thought that, not to bring in a white-black thing, but the fact that he was this white rapper and, was phenomenal and kind of broke barriers, is why was he targeted? Because he was white, so somehow that made it bad or something?
Yes.
Where other people could say even worse.
Appropriating a culture really is how they felt. It was very much like Elvis. It's the reason I don't know if you know this.
Oh, that's
Elvis,
fascinating.
How he was actually...
I agree.
Yeah.
I
What
even
is
thought about
this?
that
I
this
didn't know
morning.
that.
I was thinking, it's a lot like Elvis.
Yeah.
He is. The comparison is, yes, I thought the same thing.
Yeah. How so? Like, I'm listening, but I'm
Elvis
curious.
came out and he was very, people were like, oh, we can only show him from the waist up. And he was, he was risque. And I think Eminem came out and he was not risque,
Unapologetic.
but he just didn't, he said exactly what was on his mind. And he said things that everybody thought, but nobody wanted to say. And I think that's where everybody can mostly, I'd say 99% of people out there have some sort of connection with him. Like everyone when he came out was like, I can't believe he just said that. Like, but it's stuff we all have thought and just all wanted to say.
Yeah.
Yes, that's such a good point. It's something that we've all thought. It's a way that we've all felt. And in the same respect, when he says it, it's almost like we're saying it. He says it for us.
He does, yeah.
He beats our bullies up for us.
Yeah.
He says the things that we're afraid to say. And he does it, and he pushes that envelope because we have freedom of speech.
And he's funny. And it's funny.
Yeah,
It's funny. It's like, I can't believe he just said that.
But
Like,
you
what?
almost, when I was watching him and like re-watching old videos and things like that, I wonder sometimes if the funny is just an outlet to cover up the insecurity.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yes.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
And then I was watching him again, and I just started really, really thinking about like his family and like the whole dynamic. But when did you think that, you mentioned he's changed your life? So in terms of that, what do you think, was there like a pivotal moment? Because we were all Eminem fans, right? Like way back 20 years ago.
Right.
Huge, right?
Of course.
And I know, I'm gonna ask you about Detroit culture because it's like huge.
Yep.
And we were all fans, we're all really into him. I mean, from, really bougie people to, people that really truly related to like his living situations, or what we assumed were his living situations. And so do you remember a time where you were like, I feel different right now?
Yes. It was right around the time that he came out with Recovery and Relapse.
Okay.
Those two albums were just such a pivotal change in his entire career. It went from, he went from having 8 Mile tracks to D12 when he was hanging out with D12. When he was with D12, that's when he started getting funny and funky, and he started doing the voice, his like the voice that he does for like the dog and stuff like that in the music videos. He absolutely admitted that was a masking technique, because in those times he was using. And then finally Proof died. Proof was at a nightclub in Detroit, and he got shot and killed. And that was the turning point for Marshall. He went downhill after that.
And that was his original kind of best friend, and that's who he mentions in the film. Like, he knew that the people close to him were, back then and after his fame, were still going to be the only people he really trusted. Which I think if you're from a culture of maybe poverty or insecurity or whatever, where you're kind of in a close-knit circle and that's who you know, that's who your comfort is, that those are the people that you're going to keep as family. Yeah. And when he lost, his best friend, I mean,
it was just
I'm
downhill
not giving
after
an
that.
excuse for it, but I can see how somebody could spiral.
Absolutely, and he did, and it took so much for him to come back from that, and it says it in his songs. He speaks to proof in his songs. And then he had a change up, or he finally got clean. And Marshall, and this is what I say about the change, Marshall actually got clean the same year that I got dirty.
Interesting. Do you have any reflection on that? Or?
It was tough because I just wanted to beat my addiction. But I knew that I was in for the long haul, a long road. And as that road progressed, I just listened to his music more, and the one song that got my life turned around was Not Afraid. Oh. That song changed my life. That song, sorry.
No, it's okay.
That song saved me, and I wouldn't be here and I wouldn't be alive if he didn't write it. So, sorry.
No, you listened to the music and the words, amazing. And and it impacted your life in a positive
It felt like I wasn't alone. Like he says, you're not alone, take my hand, we'll walk this storm together through the... Sorry.
You did. Okay. You did. I just want to touch you. I know. I want to hold you.
He says, just letting you know that you're not alone. Holla if you feel like you've been down the same road.
And you have.
Holla.
Yeah. That sounds fitting. Yeah. But I mean, the fact that and what did that do for you? If you're seeing him getting clean and you're going, like you called dirty.
It motivated me.
I was gonna say.
It motivated me to get clean.
Because you started with
somebody like that's famous and has access to every drug out there.
Yeah.
And if he can do it,
I can do it.
You can do it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I agree.
100%.
And I did it after my dad passed away when I was 23.
Sorry.
And then I call her like my second mom, who was my ex-boyfriend's mother. We were so close. She died of cancer that same year. Oh, and then 9 months later, my mom dropped out of a brain aneurysm.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
So it was just, my 20s were just horrible. I would never repeat them. And I started to get clean in 2016, a year after my mom died. I took a year to destroy my life even more, just like he did with Proof. And then I got on the horse and I started getting clean. And I used his music every single day, every single day, to do it. I would put my headphones on and just melt away, just vibe away. The world didn't matter. Actually, I use this quote quite often now. It's actually from Jimmy Iovine. He's the CEO of Interscope. Yeah. And he had mentioned this quote in a documentary once where if you're a horse in a race, if the horses didn't have blinders on, what would they do? They'd run into each other. So the horses have blinders on in that race, which is life, and you get to the goal. So put your blinders on in life. Don't let anybody else influence you. Focus on what you need to focus on and get to where you're going. And I literally took Jimmy Iovine's advice and I was like, blinders up.
And stop worrying about what everybody's doing to the side or the behind or the left of you or the right of you or whatever.
Yeah.
And just kind of tunnel vision in and focus on.
It got me to where I am today.
Yeah.
I work in addiction services now. I am a certified peer specialist, and I absolutely love my job. I love my job. I support people who are, either struggling still or they just they're past it and they kind of just need somebody to talk to reflect on somebody who's had lived experience in life, and that's me. So he's even influenced my occupation.
And you can.
That's excellent.
I know. I know. And when you said he's changed my life, I mean, people say things like that about all kinds of political or music figures or celebrities or whatever who feel like they know who are their own stands in their own respect and right.
Yeah.
We've all watched shows and we're obsessed with the character or whomever or musician. I can't think of a musician. I remember watching this and I'm watching Ed Sheeran talk about him as a stand, right?
Yeah, yep.
And it was so cool.
Yeah,
and I was
he's a stand?
I know. And it kind of humbled me. And then
he does. He makes it okay. makes you feel okay about it, right?
Well, yeah, and I think I also think like if you said that back then when it was popular and you say it now, they're two different meanings.
Yeah.
And that you know, the negative connotation to the acceptance now, and the fact that like you can come on and say this person changed my life. What they had the voice to say, it, you know, yes, he is so profound and eclectic in how he can manipulate words and his deliverance, but the fact is the words got to you.
Yeah.
It's funny that she says that, and I know you're talking about obviously an addiction, and it's like very heavy. My husband, well, you know my husband, when he was
Also
in
from
grad
Michigan.
school,
Yeah.
he is.
Also
he was
from
born in
Michigan.
Detroit too. Well, I wasn't, but he was. But he
threw Joel
when
right
he
under the
well,
bus.
He was when he was in grad school. He likes Eminem, but he's not a huge Eminem fan. You know, he's not. You know, anyway, he failed his first test, and he heard "Lose Yourself."
Oh.
And he was like, oh my God, if I don't do this. And he told me years later,
Love
he's
that.
like, what got me to like Eminem's song, God Joel? He was like, you
only
do
get
not
one
miss
shot.
your,
Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime.
And it was. And so he's a nurse anesthetist. So it really, and especially at that time, to get into school for CRNA school was very difficult. And he was like, you know, he went up there with his surfboard. He's like, I'm going to go surfing. And he's like, holy shit. Like, this is.
This surprises me.
I know.
No, it
Yeah.
surprises
Which
me
he
because
knows. Yeah.
only because you know, you can be anyone of
And he really-
truly anyone of anything.
I mean, but even think about the Rihanna
And
song.
you're
with him
related.
and Rihanna.
Yeah.
Like, we've all been in a relationship, well, maybe not all of us, but a lot of us
some
have been in
angle
these
of it.
relationships
Yeah.
where that, like, totally, those lyrics, like, they're funny to you because you're like, oh, I've been there. But at the time that you were living that, it wasn't so funny.
And that's how we.
But you can relate to a lot of what
manage
he
it.
does, what he, you know, what he sings in his lyrics. He talks about life, just people.
Yep.
Pretty much. Yeah,
Honestly,
he's just a people watch. He's
Yeah.
a professional people watcher, absorber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like he humanizes the things that we're so afraid to humanize. He puts this human level, an understanding level, to things that we're kind of afraid to approach. And honestly,
Nobody wants to talk about an abusive relationship,
No,
right?
exactly.
You know,
Or
him,
addiction or anything
So,
openly.
like,
There you
when
go.
I lived in Michigan, Kim and Marshall
Yeah.
were a big thing, and they were constantly in the media, constantly. They were going to
remember.
court, which they were going to court literally, like, I don't know, like 3 miles away from my house, you know? So it was like, he was right there.
Wow.
And it was right. It was always on the news. It was the 5 o'clock news. Oh, Marshall Mathers and Kim Mathers were in court today, and you know, it was like,
goodness.
it was very. They were always in your face, and there was. I know one time I went to a bar on like a Wednesday night with my ex-boyfriend, and it was at like 15 in Gratiot. So that's like mile roads, if you can imagine. So you're going down. The higher the mile road, the closer you are to Detroit.
That's what I was going to ask you, because nobody understands 8 Mile, because that was the first
So
thing I
8
said when I
Mile-
met you was, hey, what's up, 8 Mile? And you're like,
So-
that is not right, Crystal.
So 8 Mile is like, back in the day, from what I was told during the riots in the 60s, was like the divider, like the racial divide.
Okay.
If you were
Okay.
8 Mile and lower, it was more African American. 8 Mile and higher,
Okay.
you know, it was more white people. So
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
yeah,
Okay.
it was. It was
'Cause
literally.
I couldn't find anything
yeah.
that like
No, of
divide.
course
Like,
not.
yeah, I know. Nobody's going to say it. Yeah.
But it was, I was at like, I think like 15 in Gratiot. And it was like this bar called Cabo Wabos. And Kim was there.
Oh.
Like no one's in this bar, right?
Oh my gosh.
And Kim is there with like, I don't know, she's at a table with like 4 dudes. And she's a kind of a, she looks like she could kick some ass.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
I'm like, oh my God. I'm looking at her. I remember she came up to my boyfriend and she was like, hey, how you doing? And I'm literally sitting right here. I was just like, I don't even do whatever you want.
Was this what we're picturing when she had the lip liner and the whole
my God,
look?
yes.
Yes.
This
okay.
is her.
All right.
This is her.
I
Like,
remember
lip liner,
being
yes.
like super
the brown
jealous.
lip liner, yes.
I remember being super jealous. I don't know if you experienced this or you experienced, but I remember having like a weird jealousy towards her because like she got to be with this super cool guy that's like super.
And she was still wearing brown lip liner.
Yes, and she was they just seemed like that relationship that.
Oh, it was awful. I remember she threw a chair across the bar. I've seen her there a couple times, and she like threw a chair. She was like, fuck this, and like whipped a chair across the bar.
Wow.
I was like, that girl, like, I'm good.
Did you happen to like not to make this about Kim because this isn't about Kim, but the only thing I'll say to that is that like everything, I don't know if it's true or not, but he just looks like a fabulous father. Like everything just it seems driven by that.
I don't know. I mean, I think that in Kim's defense, she was thrown into this whole mix of like
all of a sudden,
and
high school sweetheart, and now you're like,
and now you're literally So I lived at another mile road. I was at 19 in Romeo Plank. So Romeo Plank is like, I don't know, a mile or two away from another road called Hayes. And he bought his first house, which is on the documentary, that house where he's like, everyone knows my address.
Yep.
oh,
Dresden Street, right?
Yeah. No, it was on Hayes.
Hayes, okay.
Okay, so
Just
everyone
say
knew
it.
your address because you bought a house on a main road. Like, what? Of course we knew your address. And
gotcha.
everyone's like, Eminem lives there. Like, I pulled in after a concert, after the first Up in Smoke tour. I pull in with my girlfriends, and like these security guards come running down the driveway. Get the F out of here. And I was like, I'm just turning around.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about him is that he attracted everyone.
But at the same time, you think about it. Who do you think was sitting in the house with her baby? Probably Kim. So, I mean, she was, kind of
thrown into it.
Yeah, she was thrown into it, and I don't think that they, obviously had the best.
We can only speculate. The only thing I've read since.
And drugs were involved, obviously, and that's.
And they were young, like just like we were when we have all had our messes with
I mean, think about
boyfriends.
the song Kim, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
But, I mean, he is venting, and okay, well, maybe
But then we felt like we knew her, and we didn't like her.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
that's
So
what he
now
does.
no one likes her.
He's so good.
Yeah.
And then,
good.
like, he goes, she's dating somebody else, and he shows up at this bar with a gun, with a handgun. I don't know if you remember that.
that's when he.
I think it was the IROC. I think it was IROC. I remember because we
pistol
would go to
whipped
that
a
bar.
bouncer.
Yes.
Yep, he pistol whipped a bouncer when he
Which
was out
gave a
one
lot
night.
of, like,
That's not
a lot of
good.
people suddenly started going to the IROC after that.
Yes. Yep, and it was when he was out at the club.
Yes,
Yep, a
he
bouncer
was.
came up and Kim was like flirting with him. David Guerrera. That's who it was.
That's
Probably. That
I don't
sounds
know
familiar.
if this is true or I'm speculating, but I remember something about she like had a baby with his bodyguard or something
I have
strange
no
like
idea.
that. Like,
Did she?
is that true?
When he makes the line, can I swear?
Yeah.
Okay, when he says the line, "You're full of shit too, Guerrera," that was a fist that hit you. That's what he's talking about.
Oh.
He's literally referencing that night.
It wasn't, he didn't pistol whip him.
He did pistol whip
Oh, he
him.
did?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And then
I
he
think
talks
she
about how
meant-
he gets his
yeah.
guns taken away for gun possession.
Oh.
But because of that.
He was always in court. So, but remember, this was the local news, and he's a national international celebrity.
But he didn't ask
But
for
he
that.
was local.
No.
And I
Yep.
also think like the whole thing with like getting back to the whole Stan thing, I think that he was a white guy who could rap. And Detroit, as much as people, especially at that time, I feel Detroit was very segregated. You were black or you were white, and yes, could we get along? Of course we could get along, but I worked in the ER in Detroit, and there was just this
Divide.
there was a huge divide, and it was like, it was palpable.
I think people are
You
still
can feel it.
intimidated when they hear Detroit. They immediately
It
think
was
they're going to
very-
like pull into, the airport there and it's just going to be like Thugville and they're just like
Romulus.
terrified.
It's not true.
Yeah, it's not true at all. Yeah. And because there's always been like poor Detroit has tried to have like resurgences.
It's getting better.
Yeah.
It is getting better.
But
I will say that.
I think
is
it was
getting
was
better.
it Michael Moore who did that documentary?
That was
I don't think
Flint.
he helped it. Oh, that was Flint.
That was
Excuse me.
Flint, yeah.
But I thought somebody else did something on Detroit. But anyways, Michigan never gets that what it deserves. Like it kind of. But back to
One more point about the
yes,
stands.
please.
So back then there was this huge divide, right? So now you got this white guy who comes out and he can rap, and the black people like him, and the white people love him.
Yeah.
And now we have something that like
United.
you can come together. Like he really did bring a lot of. He did. It was. I mean, even going to like.
Did you see that in the clubs and everything?
100%. Like, well,
Oh,
yeah. I
cool.
mean, even at his concert, like, it was mostly like. There was probably, I don't know, I'd say 80, it was in Detroit, so remember, it was probably 85% African American, and the rest of us were whatever, not us.
Yeah.
I was young.
Yeah, but
anyway, but yeah,
you're-
so, but we all, nobody looked at you, like gave you a funny look or, you know.
He brought everyone together.
He brought us together.
Yeah.
What's your, okay, so
Because if they can come together on stage and play for us, why can't we come together in the audience?
can we continue that theme like for the rest of our lives,
It would be
please? Because
nice,
that would be
but-
really nice.
Yeah.
It would.
Yeah, and I also like loved seeing that. Like I don't know if this is true, but it appeared that most of his friends were black. I mean,
They were. Well, he lived in Detroit.
I know, but we're saying there's
grew up in
this.
Detroit, of course they were.
I know, but like even
Didn't I just tell you nobody
Yeah,
lived
I know,
south of 8 Mile?
but I
or
mean,
north of 8 Mile? I don't even know what it is. South of, whatever. The
even if
numbers
you live
go
in
up.
a small town, you always know the like, you know, and I mean, the poor person that is the one minority in the school, we all know who it is, and
Yes.
they're not always treated well. So I'm not sure he had this fluffy life with African Americans.
Oh, God, no.
and
Oh,
was
no,
like
I can't imagine he
accepted.
did.
Oh
No, no, no.
I think this was like hard as hell.
It would have been
It
very
very much
hard.
so
Yeah,
it was
that's
hard to work as a white
And then
nurse
be a
in Detroit
rapper?
and be a little kid and grow
Yeah.
up and have to go to school when
That's what I'm
I've
saying.
experienced it
so
as
hard.
well. I've also experienced it where that racial divide happens, where you're kind of like the only white person, and you do kind of like it is like you get like ganged up on, and you're like, ah.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating. I felt like Marshall at one point in my life, and I was just like, I was doing because I'm not racist. I love people.
No.
So I was doing everything I possibly could to like make this like happen. Like let's create this connection, but there was just this wall.
Okay.
And using Marshall Mathers music actually helped break that wall
Really?
down. Yeah, it really does. Like he has broken down a cultural divide, a racial divide within this country. It hasn't done it
so.
completely, but he has made a massive difference.
Do you think he has any understanding of the impact that this man has?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that's why he even states it in the documentary. He could never even fathom all of this happening. Like writing one song and watching that ripple effect take place and seeing so many people affected by your lyrics, by your words, by who you are. He had no idea. I mean, he even writes about it in the song Who Knew?
Well, that was the thing. I was, watching the documentary, and there was a part in it where he was like, I didn't ask for this responsibility. Like, I don't give a shit,
I'm
basically.
not your savior.
Yeah, like, and he's like very like what I picture him back then. And then the way he speaks currently or on the documentary, I don't know him personally, obviously, but, and I'd like to lead into you meeting him, but when he's talking now, it feels like such a reflection. And maybe because he's kind of stayed out of the spotlight a little bit and had a minute to kind of become whoever he wants to be now and has had that journey. And he's incredible. I know. I think people really need to recognize how special this human being is.
Yeah,
I
and
agree.
whether he realizes it to the core or not, he's making a massive impact. And even if it's
Very
just
much
race
so.
alone, then he deserves all the accolades,
honestly,
everything positive.
I would love to touch on the fact that he incorporated a person who's transitioning in stands.
I saw that, and it was beautiful.
incredible.
I did notice
That's
that.
so awesome. I was like, yes.
I know you've got Ed Sheeran and Adam Sandler, and then we have somebody
know.
who's
Transitioning.
transitioning.
Yes, and
like,
that's so beautiful.
Even like the Elton John thing, like when he came with Elton John,
He's just cool as hell is what he is.
He the jokes about like people being gay and this and that, like
It's
I
not.
think especially back then,
Yeah.
that was how people spoke too.
Yep,
People
it
don't really
is.
talk that way anymore,
No, it
but I
is.
think that was how people spoke then, and he was just talking like he would talk to his buddy in the living room. And I think that's even in like one of his lyrics, like something like to that effect.
And you wonder sometimes if we could get back to just a little bit of like open discussion, relax,
just relax.
Everybody just become,
it would be nice.
You know, we all bleed red kind of thing. And like, let's just like, you know, and accept each other for whomever. But I'm going to get yelled at because we're almost out of time. But,
I know.
But what I really, thank you so much for being here in the reflection. I could go on for like hours because this is so fascinating. I have like so many notes of things that I was like, blah, 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 blah. Because we could talk about, you know, his from Slim Shady to Eminem to Marshall Mathers to why are you Marshall Mathers the third, where's dad? Like all the
you know the death of Slim Shady in general. I mean, like I thought his that was alter great. Ego, he literally murdered because he doesn't need it anymore. And that's so beautiful, like metaphorically, just wow. When he came out with T-DOS, The Death of Slim Shady, some people were like, well, what does he mean by that? Like, is this his last album?
No.
I mean, no, people.
No, get
he's
it.
killing
He literally
his
is talking to himself.
Yeah, we all have one. We just don't take, we don't have the you-know-whats to shut it down, right?
Exactly.
And he named it, and then he got rid of it, and kudos to him.
Yeah.
So, before I get yelled at, may I ask, you got the pleasure of, okay, so we've skipped really fast, I'm gonna get yelled at, but where did you film, and then you got the pleasure of meeting him.
Yep.
And I love that you refer to him as Marshall instead of Eminem, which I think is how he's a human. He's a human. Thank you.
He's a person.
That's a beautiful
not his persona.
Statement. Thank you.
Yeah. So I always call him Marshall.
Thank you for clarifying that.
He's a man. Like that's his name.
Yeah. And he's kind of hot. Like, actually super hot.
Very much so.
I know, we all have crushes. All right.
Yep,
so
we do. We all have
of
girl
course,
crushes.
Especially back
still
then.
now. I had to look up how old he was. I was like, well, this could work.
He's older than me. I know that.
But it could still work.
It's incredible.
I'm the single one.
She's single. I'm the single one.
Oh, you're the single.
No, I'm married.
No, you're married. I'm the single one.
I even tell my husband, I'm like, he was like, what are you going to do? Like, are you... I was like, I'm not.
You're not fangirling.
Like,
this is
you're not 20 anymore. Like,
this is so much, and this is what's so fascinating is the word "stand" and the stands, and you know this collaboration. It to me changed my whole perspective because if I hadn't met you in person and just watched the documentary, the second time around when I watched it really is what penetrated, and I know you watched it,
I watched it twice.
And I felt like the first time I was, I'll have to be honest, you're a little judgy, right? You're like, oh, these people are a little crazy and obsessed and a little strange.
First you're like, okay, they're stands.
Because we're so used to, and we're so used to being fed kind of whatever it is at a 10, right? Like we're not used to just normal. So when you start really diving in and saying like, this actually changed my life, I understand what you're saying now. Yeah. When you say...
And you hear it, and like when you say the lyrics and you're like, wow, this really changed my life.
Yeah. It makes sense though now, and I really encourage people to watch this documentary, Paramount Plus on Stands. It's called Stands. You can't miss the logo. It's very, very easy to... Yeah. Meagan, you're phenomenal in it. But
thank you.
You know, I think that the barriers that he's broken and the things that, you know, I encourage you to even watch it twice and to go into it a complete, you know, blank slate. Because I went into it kind of, oh, another documentary. It's going to be, you know, just junk. It was not. It was fantastic, and it was so well done. And I if I were you, I'd be so proud to be part of something that
it's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. I'm just honored that you're here and that you're like a part of our community and our little happy valley and like
got it.
Happy valley.
Yeah, and before I really get yelled at,
back to your question.
Yeah, sorry. Oh, I know. I'm terrible. I could go on for hours. I didn't even touch on one thing, which means you guys are super interesting because usually I'm like this. So, so you met him, and I just want to hear that experience and any other things that either of you want to touch on real.
Absolutely. Meeting him, so we were at Pier 17 on August 6th.
Where's Pier 17?
In Manhattan.
Okay.
It's right in the Brooklyn area, near the bridge. And it was this beautiful venue, outdoors. It was on the rooftop. And so we watched the movie. Well, we all got together. They were going.
It was a premiere.
It was a premiere.
Okay.
Yep. Everybody sat down. Everybody bought tickets for this premiere. So we got taken downstairs into this VIP section. And we are asking questions by the director. He wanted to ask us more questions, so he brought us back into an area like this. And once he was done, he got us all together. Was like, all right, everybody, let's come together. I want to get a group picture with you.
Isn't that the dress you wore too?
This is the
you
dress
should
I
stand
wore.
up because it's
With your
beautiful and you look
yellow.
beautiful.
100%. And my
With the
little
yellow.
my sash. This
yes,
is the dress.
you look incredible. It's amazing.
I love it.
Okay.
Yes.
And we went back, and I was not expecting him to be there. But the next thing you know, these two big double doors open up, and his bodyguards came out, and they cleared the room, and he walked forward, and there he was. And he came up to us, and he shook our hands. He shook every single one of our hands individually. And then he went on to talk to us. And he talked to us like he was our friend. Like as if, well, I mean, he kind of did know us in a way. But he had stated that he felt like he knew us. He felt like he knew each and every one of us on this personal level. And he was just compelled to come meet us. And we had no idea that he wanted to do that. So he came and he met us at Pier 17. And I got to, he was talking to a couple people. There was a comment that went viral that I believe Ralph said that he was like, oh, it's the Fortnite guy. That went viral. Viral, like you wouldn't believe. He laughed. Eminem walked into the room and someone goes, hey, it's the Fortnite guy. And he's just like, what?
I would have said something dumb.
But that moment went viral, and then I just was like, I thought of the song, right? Lose Yourself. I only have one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. So I was like, that's it. Say something. And I was like, I had to. I was like, Marshall, thank you for saving my life. And then he turned, looked at me, walked through two people, and gave me the biggest hug I've ever had. It wasn't a quick hug. It was literally like a caring, warming hug. And I was so blown away.
That's
he
awesome.
embraced me and pulled me into him. And he was like, he pretty much was just like, I'm glad that my music could save you. And
Because that's what he's doing now. He's
healing.
pivoted. He's healing. He's pivoted. I even read some stuff about Kim that he's still, supporting her through her addictions, through all the pain and all the suffering and all the things. He's still there for her. That is a human. That is a good human.
Yes.
And he changed your life. He, I think, changed
That's
so
awesome.
many.
That's
And when
awesome.
when
I'm
you're
so
talking,
happy.
all I think of him is him being his own stand towards you guys.
Yeah,
Which I think is that parallel is so cool that he's now feels
Very
like he
true.
knows you,
Yeah.
and you guys know him, even though you had never met him, and he had never met you. So I think there is truth and fact in the fact that like we can relate to people in every genre of every part of this world and
Yes.
every facet from everything. There's too many. And that you got to. I'm so glad you talked.
Yeah.
If you
Me too.
hadn't,
That moment, that opportunity comes only once
Yeah.
in a lifetime. It would have just fleetingly gone away, and then I wouldn't have had that moment.
And you
that,
always would have kicked yourself.
Amazing.
Why didn't I say
Exactly.
something? He was right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I just took that moment. I was like, I don't know what's going to happen, but say something, and I did. And he followed suit and came over and gave me a hug. And just to know that I sat down on my interview for about 3 hours. They have about 3 hours of footage of me. So they've only used little clips.
I know.
You know,
But
he
they were
did
fabulous.
it so well. But to know that Marshall has sat down and watched my entire interview, it really does feel like he does know me, because I was so open and honest and raw and just telling them like, I only have one opportunity to pour my heart out into a camera. If this is it, so be it. Here you go, Marshall.
and it wasn't mentioned on camera, but you did hear thank yous openly speak about addiction, which I truly appreciate.
Absolutely.
Because it needs to be talked about, or
Yes.
it's not going to get fixed. It is not something to ostracize. So, but do you think that he saw that part of the clip that wasn't in the actual movie, and that he saw you and says, I know what this is.
Yeah.
I know exactly what she went through.
Yep.
And that's why you got the special hug.
Yep.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I just,
Yeah,
I
would
feel that
imagine
in
so,
my
yeah.
like chills, because I feel from, one addict to another, there is a connection there that
yeah.
nobody can break up, and nobody understands like those two people at that moment. And that's why I think, meetings and things work, and support systems. But so really quick, because I really am going to get yelled at. is next for you? I know Kathy. You'll go to Detroit, and he still lives there, and
I suppose he does, yeah.
Yeah, he does.
I think he's probably, is he still in Romeo?
I think so.
Yeah.
And his mansion actually just got broken into twice. The
Oh,
guy who
gosh.
broke into his house is doing 30 years.
oh, jeez,
Sentenced to 30.
That's terrible.
He actually admitted that he had plans to harm him.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh, I can't do any more violence.
No.
So
And that's why I'm glad that they didn't incorporate that. Because
Yeah.
there is this side of obsessive fans that isn't the best, but it is so, okay. You're talking about 98% of people enjoying this and taking it in a wholesome way. In a
Right.
way that helps them, in a
there's-
way that
yeah.
heals them. Of course, there's always going to be that small percentage. There's always going to be that small deviation from the standard that people see. But the thing about humans is, how many times did somebody tell you you look great, right? How many times did somebody tell you you look awful? What stuck?
yeah,
What stuck?
True.
yeah, yeah.
It's the negative
100%.
messages that we receive that tend to just sink in more. And so when a news clipping shows a random bad stand, they're like, oh, see, that's stand-up.
That's everything. That's
No,
everyone. Yeah,
it's
that's
not.
everyone.
It's literally the tiniest, smallest percentage that you can imagine, and the bigger portion of it that is not looked at, the positive side of it, is just forgotten. And it's human nature. We really tend to do it on a daily basis, just even in the smallest things. We don't carry positive messages with us.
I know.
We carry the negative ones. If our hair looks great and 5 people say, wow, your hair looks great today, that one person that goes, what did you do? That
Those are
sticks.
my friends.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Hey.
But no jokes aside, I mean, but not to keep it going, but the word stands and that vocabulary word, did you ever find that to be a negative for yourself?
No.
When somebody would say, we're going to group you with those really obsessed fans, because the lyrics within stands when he's, or the song stand, is like when he's, and it escalates and it's getting, we feel it. And then Dido is just phenomenal.
Yep.
And like, we all like crank that music, even to this day, all these
know,
years
me
later.
too.
I
Very
mean, we're
much.
still
I know, we
obsessed
do.
with it.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm hands down. But what I wanted to ask you is like, where do you see things going from now? Like, he's still going to be an integral part of your life. Do you feel like there's been some kind of closure now, or do you feel like this is just the beginning of your continued sobriety, which is not where I'm meant to go with that, but your continued kind of
Journey.
yeah, no, yes and no, but also like, where does it lead you with your stands of him?
Yeah.
Wasn't it
Stanley.
Stanley?
Stanley.
Yeah.
We all talk actually every single day.
I love that.
All of us are in a group
Wow.
chat.
Oh,
20
really?
of us.
Wow.
It's a group
Great.
chat. And
Oh.
we all literally
Smokes.
talk every single day. And it hasn't stopped since the premiere. We all shared numbers. We all got in this group
Oh my
chat. We all
gosh.
talk to each other every single
Phenomenal.
day. So we are a form of support for each other. So like,
Yes.
if one of us is going through something, 20 of us are on there. There is usually 2 or 3 or 4 stands that are active. So somebody's got your back all the time.
Wow.
That's
Somebody
awesome.
has your
Wow.
back all the time. And we all talk to each other. We've gotten each other through some stuff. We've talked on the phones. We've talked on Instagram. We're supporting one another for our own endeavors in life. So some of them do podcasts. Some of them do like commenting on YouTube, have YouTube channels. And we're doing nothing but trying to support them because they have goals too.
Yeah.
And like I make music. Excuse me, I make music. I have a small studio at home. He has absolutely inspired me to make music. So I've got actually, I'm very proud of my microphone. I have a Rode NT1 signature microphone at home. So,
Whatever that
which
is, it
literally
sounds cool as hell.
one of the best microphones.
Do you have a website or anywhere we can hear this? 'Cause
SoundCloud. Yeah, I have a SoundCloud.
Say your name, say
Hi, everybody.
everything.
You can find me, my name is Mips, MIPPS on SoundCloud. You can find me on YouTube too, Apple and Spotify Music. I am released.
You are?
Yes.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Yay. You are like, I just want to like hang out with you for
My
hours.
dream would to, oh my gosh, my dying dream would to be a feature on Eminem, like Skylar Grey does, or like Dido did. I would die. If they came to me and asked me that, I'd be like, okay, I'm dead. This isn't real.
Well, let me finish with this. So, because I need you here. So, because you're just really interesting and like I I'm really happy you're here. Would you come back on again and sing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I would love
All right.
to.
I think that would be really cool.
Nice. That would be wonderful.
I would love
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And anybody else that, you know, has been influenced, not just by Marshall Mathers, but like music in general, I think is just super duper. I mean, my background is psych and soc, even though I'm in, you know, real estate, but I'm always fascinated by like what drives people and what makes people feel good in different variations of therapy and things. And I find that music and art and those are not to be dismissed. They are massively important.
Yes.
And I would love to have you back on if you'd like
I
to
would
sing
love
or
to.
you'd like to
I
do
absolutely
anything.
would love to. That would be so nice.
I think you're incredible, and I know why they picked you. And
I do too.
yeah, I think and
Absolutely.
you know, just your stories about Kim and stuff. I didn't even know any of that, and we
know.
talk all the time. I think that's
What
super
about
fascinating.
Bust out with the story about Kim from 20 years ago.
You know, and it also shows like he was the famous one, but she was inadvertently famous. But you know, they took different tracks, but he still supports her. He
He
is
loves
like
her.
a good man.
I think he
Darn
still
it.
loves her.
I think he does
they,
too. That's
they
the
love
first
each
thing
other.
I
Come on.
know.
Weren't they married twice?
I
Come
know.
on.
They
Yeah.
were. They were
Yeah.
married twice. Yeah. Yep.
So
He loves her.
to all
You kind of can't not say that you love somebody if you marry them twice.
yeah.
They love each other. They just can't be together.
And to all the stands and the wholesomeness of the messages that he's brought, maybe not through every literal word, but the connections that he's made amongst complete strangers, and the fact that you can relate to that person. If we can relate to each other just this much more, we will be a better society.
Agreed.
So thank you, Megan and Kathy.
You're
welcome.
You
Thank
were
you so
both
much.
phenomenal, and I'm
Thank you,
so grateful
Crystal.
for your input and everything. And come back and sing, please, please,
I
please.
totally will.
Okay,
I
thank
will.
you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
Happy
you.
Friday, everybody. Come back. We're gonna see some songs and all kinds of cool stuff that's coming on. All right, have a wonderful Friday. Thank you.
Right.
Bye. Peace.
Thank you to our local programming sponsors.